Most cash flow problems don't show up when something goes wrong. They show up weeks or months after the decision that caused them. And that time delay is why founders are almost always surprised by cash flow problems. In our last few videos, we've discussed the differences between sales, profit, cash, and cash flow. Even people who understand these differences and nuances still get tripped up. And in this video, we're going to explain why cash flow problems seem to come out of nowhere and what you can do about it. If you think about it, cash flow problems are delayed by design. Business decisions aren't going to affect your bank immediately. You make a commitment today, but the cash is going to show up sometime later. And the time between the decision you make and the cash coming into the bank usually is where there's this false sense of security. The business feels fine until it doesn't. Cash problems are going to start in moments that actually feel reasonable at that time. Things like taking on new work, hiring or contracting ahead of fulfillment, extending payment terms, committing to fixed costs, assuming future income will cover today's costs. In isolation, these decisions don't feel dangerous because the problem isn't the decision itself, it's the timing mismatch that creates the problem. Founders are going to miss these early warning signs because they often are looking in the wrong places. They're often looking at the activity in their business. They're looking at the effort that they're putting out. They're looking at their sales. They're looking at their profit. And in those areas, the cash flow problems aren't going to show up early. By the time your cash flow problems show up in those areas, your sales, your profit, your activity, your effort, it's already too late. Cash flow problems are going to show up slowly. They initially show up as shrinking breathing room. You don't feel like you have as much breathing room as you did the last quarter. An early warning sign is going to be an increased dependence on future payments and making these big bets where decisions require everything to go right. In those moments, your runway is quietly eroding. So I want you to think about your cash flow as a lead time indicator. Your cash flow is going to tell you how far ahead you can see trouble and how much time you have to respond to that trouble. Your business isn't going to fail based on one bad decision. In most cases, businesses will fail because they don't see the signs early enough to make the necessary adjustment. So having cash flow clarity will give you that visibility. Even though cash flow problems feel sudden and unpredictable, they don't show up out of nowhere. They're just showing up in places that you were not taught to look at early enough. To help you understand the fuller picture, please watch the Hub video to help you understand how all of this fits into place. The framework in that video will help you understand how the timing in your cash flow is going to create pressure or potential. So the natural next question that a founder is going to ask is, how do I stabilize my cash flow? And I want to do it without having to rely on chasing more revenue. That's what we'll tackle in our next video.